Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. So after playing a little bit with them in the current event, we're gonna review the Traitor Legions of the Titans. So let's start right away with the legendary. So it's a 0-4 that can't attack, that doesn't change from the loyalist. It has very low initiative. It can give for 2 energy shield to to random friendly units, so that's a really good effect. Of course, the more you spam it, the more likely you are to hit a unit that has shield, but of course your opponent is gonna do everything to pop them. For its set of weapons, they are at the bottom, so we have the Inferno Gun. It has a shutdown, it can't attack, 0.25, and for 1 energy you deal, of siege of course, you deal 2 damage to an enemy and 1 to adjacent units. So this was nerfed recently. Before it was 1 damage to all units, so it was really good at popping shields and stuff like that. The other one, it's the Hailstorm Cannon. So it has shutdown, can't attack, overload, it's at 0.25. Any siege ability is for 3 energy, you deal 2 to 4 damage to all enemies. So it's almost a guaranteed board clear. And last but not least, the Plasma Annihilator. 0.25, shutdown, can't attack, overload, the usual. For 5 energy of siege, you deal 10 damage to a random enemy and its adjacent units with an ordnance of 3. So this was quite nerfed before. It was for 4 energy you deal 12, and you also, it wasn't random, so now it's more balanced. And that's about this one. I think yes, there are for the other warlord which we are gonna cover. So Hatred Unbound 0.35, can't attack, very similar to the other warlord of the loyalists. The initiative is low. For 2 energy you can give +2 until your unit next turn, +2 attack of course. If the target sorry, if the target is a Titan weapon, give it shield. So that's really good. I think it was buffed before. He just gave the +2 attack, which is probably gonna be good because this troop, I think it has a fist weapon, power fist, a river weapon. Let me see a moment if it's the same, but I think it's the same. Yep, river titan, because this one is something else. So you can have, even if it has overload, you can have your power fist hit for 5 damage, and also with the shield prevent taking any. That's really good considering it only has 20 health. Sorry, a moment. Then we have the Melta Cannon, 0.20, shutdown, can't attack, and the 3 energy siege is deal 5 damage to an enemy and 3 to additional units. So I'm pretty sure it's quite the same to the Loyalist Legion. I think they have the same weapon. Then the missile launcher, also for 2 energy you deal 1 to 2 damage to all enemy. That's a really strong ability for 2 energy. The laser blaster, with 2 energy siege, it deals 2 damage to a random enemy 3 times. Pretty good. And what do we have? Warp Missile, it deals for 5 energy, you deal 5 damage to a random enemy and stun it. Now, even if the stun is pretty good, 5 energy to deal 5 damage, it's not that great. But it's better than nothing, of course. Nope, these are from the other titans. The Volcanic Eradicator, for 3 energy you deal 3 damage with Ordnance 3. Now 3 energy 3 damage, it's okay. With Ordnance 3 it becomes 6, so this weapon it's really good against, of course, the right target. And I think that's it for this Warlord. So the last main body of the Titan is Nuntio Dolores 040, so pretty good. Even if it's an epic, it has higher stats. Can't attack, and for 2 energy you get to stun a non-warlord enemy. So a little bit similar to Mortarion. It's a little bit worse, but still stunning an enemy every turn, it's a pretty good effect. So the weapon of this Titan are the paired Gatling Blaster that for 1 siege energy deal 2 damage to a random enemy. So just 2 damage to a random enemy for siege. It's a little bit weak. It's not bad, but it's okay. Like, then we have the first legendary weapon. Of course, I'm not gonna read all the shutdown, can't attack, all the stats. It starts to become repetitive. 2 energy of siege, you deal 6 damage to an enemy and stun the target and the adjacent units. So that's pretty good, because overall you're spending 4 energy to doing that. So pretty good weapon. Then the Macro Gatling, for 3 energy of siege you get to deal 2 to 3 damage to all enemies. And that's decent. 6 energy is a lot, but 2 to 3 damage, it's almost a decent bulk clear, so it's a good weapon. The paired Destructor, for 1 energy of siege you deal 1 damage to a random enemy 3 times. That's pretty good, because ping effect allows you to pop the shields and also kill smaller units. Of course, against a bunch of big units doesn't do much, but that's the obvious. The pair missile launcher, for 1 energy of siege you deal 1 damage to all enemies. This one overall it's probably the better one and the most consistent. You of course, because they're paired, I think you can't have like 1 and 1. I think you have to make a choice, and this one is the more consistent. I think in order, this one is the best, this one is a middle ground, and this one is the worst, because just dealing for 2 energy, dealing 2 damage to a random enemy, it's not that good. Having board clear effect, it's way better. And then we have the Arrow Claw, which has 4 attack. It's a lot. Shut down. So your enemy can attack it, so it doesn't attack, but that's stupid. You're probably gonna just take the 4 damage and waiting this unit to skip a turn, because after the attack it receives can't attack, and you need to spend 2 energy to remove it and also waste a turn. So basically you're gonna deal 4 damage only once at a time. So there's one more, the Volkite Extractor. For 2 energy or siege, you deal 5 damage to a random enemy with Ordnance 4. So, dealing 5 damage at random, it's okay. But the Ordnance basically almost doubles it, so that's quite... making it a 9, it's sure it's worth it. Basically, the weapon with Ordnance, you play them if the meta is for your vehicle and titans, which it probably gonna be. Ah wait, we missed one. The Chain Fist. It's actually a river weapon. I thought well, whatever. So it has Cleave 2, and after attacking you receive a can't attack. It only has 2 attacks, so... I mean, it's about clear. I think it's okay, even if it is a legendary. I'm sure it's good against the Titans, because they have 0 attack. So this is for the top, for the Titans, their weapon. So let's see, the counter attack, it's deal 1 damage to a random enemy. It's really weak. Like, dealing 1 damage is good, it's pretty solid. But for to a random enemy, like there are other factions are way more consistent. You get to choose where to put the damage, which is basically brings me to the essence of this faction. They want to deal damage, they are okay at doing it. They are probably better than the other faction at doing them, which means they have more damage, but as you can see through the randomness of their effects, they are more inconsistent. And if the meta is gonna be filled with Titan, where you wanna focus a weapon or deal with a shield, I don't know if that is gonna be good. Like more damage, but losing consistency. I don't know. Maybe the other Titans will end up being more popular, but it's all to see. So first tactic, 1 energy, it's an epic. Blood Hungry, you give +2 and terror to a friendly vehicle or Titan weapon until your next turn. So this is good, of course, on fist weapons, because you can get to kill a unit for free. And also on a vehicle, it's not terrible. As a tactic, it doesn't cycle, but it's good. Now we have overstated 1 drop, 1 energy 2-3 with Overload. So it's an aggressive card. I don't know if it's gonna be good. Like, because in this game you start with 2 energy, so 1 drop are not that essential. But it's aggressive, so maybe there is a reason to play it if you have some space in the deck. Otherwise, I think there are better cards. Accelerated Autoloader. For 2 energy, you load the siege ability of a friendly unit, and if it has Awakened, you give it shield. So you mostly want to play it with if the weapon has Awakened, so you get more value out of this card. Like, just loading the ability for 2 energy, it's a little bit expensive. It's not bad because you get to use it in the same turn, but still. Bitter Soul, you deal 1 damage to all enemy, which for 2 energy it's fine. And you give +1 attack to friendly awakening units this turn. Now, that depends on how much you're gonna play Awakened. It makes the card more viable. Overall, 2 energy deal 1 damage to everything. It's okay. It's good as a board clear, and Poppy shield, of course. Capture the outpost, 2 energy 2-4. Can't attack, for 1 energy you get to choose 1 effect. Draw a card or fill 2 energy or heal 2 to your warlord. This card is real good, I really don't need to explain why. Creeping Madness, 2 energy, legendary tactic. Give +1 attack and Awakened to a friendly unit. And you return this card to your deck, draw a card. So it tends to loop. Of course, it's pretty good that is a unit, because giving an attack to your main body or like your weapons, especially in the fist one. It helps you dealing more damage to your warlord, to not your warlord, of course, the enemy warlord. So even if weapon is bad, it's probably worth it overall. No. Grade 2 or 2 energy 3-2 with First Strike and Overload. So of course First Strike allows you to kill something and have this unit survive, which in the early game it's probably gonna likely to happen. I think the loyalist version of this card is better because it has terror and flank, so it's more proactive. Like this one, you play him and your opponent can remove it, but overall it's not bad. It's a solid card. Infernal Allegiance, for 2 energy you get a Reflection, give Shield and Awaken to a friendly vehicle or Titan weapon. Pretty sure the Loyalists have the exact same card, but it doesn't have Awakened. And I didn't say it, but as you can read, Awakened you have a 30% chance to attack itself at the start of this turn. So that's a lot of the randomness and inconsistent that the Chaos Titan have. And a little problem that I saw, and I'm gonna talk about it, it's with the claw. If you, which we're gonna see later, if you give them Bloodthirst, or even if they have they don't have a cannot attack, with Awakened you might roll the chance that instead of attack they're gonna use the 2 energy remove can't attack, even if they don't have it. So I hope that this bug is gonna be removed, because that way they make some of these weapons too much inconsistent. Like if they start in a row doing nothing and wasting energy, like come on, that's too bad. Like attacking random, sure, it's fine, but just doing nothing and wasting energy, it's way too bad. I'm sorry, I'm gonna take another drop of water, hope you're not choking on it. Sorry, but it's summer and my throat is really dry, especially if I start talking over and over. Now, Unbridled Hatred, for 2 energy you deal 2 damage to a random enemy. Repeat this effect for every friendly awakening unit. So if you have 1, this card is worth it, because you're dealing 4 damage for 2 energy, and that is good. If you don't, it's okay, but of course you want more consistency. Now, 2 energy Veteran Princeps, for those 2 energy you heal 3 and remove Awaken from a friendly vehicle, Titan or weapon. I think this card is gonna be played a lot, because it's pretty sure it's the only one that removes Awakened, and after you give it to a weapon with something like this that you're probably gonna play. I don't need to explain why a card like this is good. You really want Awakened removed from your Titan weapons. So also the heal, it's obviously really good. So I think this card, if you planning on putting Awakened on your troops or Titan weapon, this probably is gonna be a must-have. Banelash, 3 energy, 3/4 with shield. And when a friendly unit receives Awaken, you gain a Mark of Chaos. Overall, I think it's more simple and stronger the Loyalist Titan. But this one has more potential, because you get to choose when it buffs himself. And also if you get all the 4 Mark of Chaos, it becomes a greater demon. So there's also that. Overall, as a legendary, it's pretty good. Corrupted Maniple. For 3 energy you give a Mark of Chaos and Awaken to your vehicles, draw a card. It's good that it cycles for 3 energy, because 3 energy is quite a lot to just give a Mark of Chaos. So it's your vehicles. I wish it. I mean, on the Titan weapons would be way too strong to give them Mark of Chaos, I know. But because with Titan you're playing really few vehicles, I mean, you have few of them on the board, like you're gonna put 2 Mark of Chaos with this card most likely. So I think this card it's bad. Probably not gonna be C play unless the cost goes down at least 1 energy. Experimental Vessel for 3 energy, you will 3 and remove stun from a friendly unit, and if it has awakened you give it ward until your next turn. So you're probably playing this card even if you don't wanna remove benefit from the awakened, because removing stun from a friendly unit is pretty viable on the Titan, especially because the neutral set had some card that did that for cheap, but now they, of course, they have been balanced, so you don't get to remove the stun from your Titan weapon that easily unless you have this card. This card we saw, it's pretty good, of course, unless Awakens fucks you over. Maccabius Castigator 3 energy 3 with Cliff 2. For a common card it's good, of course, but it's gonna be sim play, maybe. Like the potential it's good, but you play him, does nothing, it's just a 3-3. So, Instead, Knight Atropos for 3 energy 2-2, you deal 2 damage in rally, which is good. And Ordinance 4 makes this card really good. Portent of Doom, 3 energies, you stun all enemy troops. It doesn't stun the Warlord, but it's a way better version of the neutral card, so it might see some play. Seeker's Grave, 3 energy for 3, Overload. Rally if you control an awakened unit, he gains frontline. Having to have an awakened unit to give frontline to this troop, which doesn't have a lot of health, I don't think it's that good. Like, it's better as an aggressive unit than a defensive one. Unholy Vigor for 3 energy gives shield, survivor 2 and an awaken to a friendly vehicle or Titan weapon. So giving shield and survivor 2 for 3 energy is pretty decent. You probably want them. Awaken is bad, but you have to deal with it. Audax Warhand for energy 5-4, Overload, and Resolution you deal 2 damage to enemies with stealth. So dealing 2 damage to an enemy with stealth, it's good if you're playing maybe against Raven Guard that tends to have a lot of them. But in general you want anti-stealth, something that decloaks your opponent troops. Like, dealing 2 damage, you might kill some of those troops, but if it's a mid to big one, it does nothing, so it's a little bit weak as anti-stealth. You probably better play off Information Network. Being Overstutter, it's good if you wanna be aggressive with it, of course. Direct Measure for energy, you deal 2 damage to all enemies. Ordinance 2, so this is a way better version of what's it called, Artillery Bombard. We know the card, I don't remember the name, but it's the Chaos one. Heedless Charge, you deal 3 damage to an enemy, stun adjacent units. So I think the Loyalist one is better, because it costs 1 less energy and you stun the target. Stunning adjacent units, it's good when there are adjacent units. If there aren't, you dealt 3 damage for energy, which is bad. Like, I think this card needs a point or two of ordnance damage or something. Like this, it's a bit weak. Impregnable barrier for energy, you give shield to all your units. This card is really good because it's good just played on a Titan, and it's really good if you have troops, especially with flank stuff like that, like the Vorax. So pretty good card. For energy it's a lot, but it's still a pretty good card for common. Possessed Warhand for energy for 5, Awaken. It's an overstated card. It's a little bit better than the common. I don't remember the name. It's the mechanical one. We know what it is. Titanica Infernus for energy. Your warlord gains a resolution. Give +1 attack and awaken to a random friendly Titan weapon. Of course, you want this card. Like the awaken, it's bad, but keep stacking attack on your Titan weapons. It's just what you want because they have 0 attack. So another probably must have in most decks. Wolf Sight for energy 5 for 5. Overload. When a friendly unit receives awaken, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. So it's a way better version of this card, but it's an epic, so it does make sense. It doesn't have awaken, but it has overload, which is not terrible, as like it's not too big of a problem. And when a friendly unit receives awaken, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. It's an okay effect. It's a little bit inconsistent, but if you trigger it 1 or 2 times, you make worth to play this card. So I'm not gonna pronounce it. I give up. For energy 3-5, overload frontline for 2 energy, you deal 3 damage, ordnance 2. So maybe the loyalist one it's a little bit better because it has 4 attack. Of course, with a frontline troop you don't want attack, so having an energy weapon it's good, but you spend already energy on your troops, so even if it was sitting around, it's fine. Overall, it's a good card. It's a pretty good frontline. Ancient of Death, 5 energy. Draw card until you have 5 cards in hand. The more aggressive you are, the better this card becomes. Like, even if you are playing a slower deck, I think 1 it's fine. Gatekeeper, it does that. 5 energy for 7 frontline. You play in front the frontline and the big 7 health, and then he stands on the board. You're probably not gonna attack with him, but it's a good frontline. Of course, all these frontline are weak to Ambassador Melkator, which is gonna become probably more popular, but you're probably still gonna play at least maybe one of them. Ominous Reaper, 5 energy, 6-4, Awaken, Terror, Battle Honor gains a Mark of Chaos. So a lot of going on. Unfortunately, it doesn't have flank or stealth, so with 4 health it's pretty vulnerable. You play this card if you are already winning, like this is a win more card. But it has the potential to fight for the board all alone, so and become bigger and better, even result in a greater demon if you're lucky. So overall it depends. If you're really aggressive, you get to consolidate the board on top 5. So this card is maybe gonna see play, I don't know. It's okay overall. Something a little bit more consistent is Tenebris Fidelis. 5 6-5, so it's really nicely overstated. Overload, of course. Enrage, deal 1 damage to random enemy. So you're probably gonna get the rage of at least 1, which makes the card quite good. Curse of Iron, 6 energy, 5-7, overload. For 3 energy, you deal 2 damage to all enemies with ordnance 2. It's a common card, like it's okay. You're probably not gonna see much of this card played, like it's really because it's really slow. The Wrath for 6 energy removes stun and gives surviving 2 to all your Titan weapons and Warlord. 6 energy is a lot. The fact it's good, but I tried this card, it's tough to play. But removing stealth can be really clutch. And as I said, it was made hard to do. So you're probably gonna see this card play. Maybe just one, but Hand of Ruin, 6 energy, 7/6, Awaken, Ward and Terror. So it's pretty strong and aggressive card because it's hard to kill. With Ward it's really tough to deal with. But it comes late in the game, so it makes sense. Awakened, we'll see. I don't know if it's attack by itself. It seems to prioritize the enemy warlord. Awakened, I don't know. It seems by playing the troop seems to attack a little bit more random sometimes. So I don't know. This card can be really good or really bad, but overall it's solid. At least that. Iron Hunter, 7 energy, 8/8, shield. When an enemy dies, refill 2. So of course it's a legendary, because a card that good can only be a legendary. Oh, and being overstated with shield, it's really strong. When an enemy dies, refill 2, like, it's really good. It's a little bit hard to play around, but by playing them, I can tell you that refilling your energy, it's really good on Titan. It's really good because firing this weapon costs. Another good card, it's the Nala Possessed Titan, 8 energy, 8/9 with flank. So even if you start going wide with Awakened later on, you get the value that you want on the turn you play them. So it's a really good card. Another good card is Reaper Stally, 8 energy, you destroy 2 random enemy troops. So usually removal comes around 7 energy. So for just 1 more energy, you get to destroy 1 more troops, which is really good. Now of course they are random, but because it's 2 of them, you have a good chance to remove what you want. Blood Whale, 9 energy, 9/11, Overload. When these troops receive Awaken, it gains also +2 attack. I think this card is terrible, because it's big, it does nothing, and when you receive Awaken, which is may not receive, because overall it's bad, you kinda don't wanna give that to your troops. It gains more attack, like it is already 9 attack. And you're probably not gonna stack much Awaken on this card, so this effect is bad. On a card this big, it's bad. If it would have been good if it was on a cheaper card, it makes sense. But later on, no, this card is terrible. It's not gonna see any play. Looper Card Manipul, 10 energy, 8/8. Put in play one Looper Card Manipul. So for 10 energy you get 2 and 8. Tough to say. Like, you get a lot of this card, a lot of board presence, but it's a win more card. Like, it's kind of a finisher. Like, instead of playing something like how's it called, the Horus tactic that deals 8 energy, the Vengeful Spirit. Instead of dealing 8 damage to your opponent with a tactic, basically you play this and you kinda do that the next turn, but 10 energy is a lot. So, tough to say. It's not bad, but it's really hard to play a card like this. Path of Iron, 10 energy, load the siege ability for all your friendly units. When a troop die, reduce the cost by 1. So to play this card, you really want to keep it in your starting hand, because later on it becomes tough to get value out of it. But loading the siege ability of all your friendly units are really strong effect, so this card is probably gonna see some play. And that it's the last one. So this is the end of the review. As I said, more aggressive, more damage, but more inconsistent the Loyalist Titan. So we're gonna see. If the inconsistency is too big, we're gonna see less of them on the ladder. But time will tell. That said, that's the end of the video. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Juju out.